could you briefly state your business and what it is you do for a living?
I'm Ian Morse. I call myself a makeup effects artist. I don't particularly like using the word prosthetics because I think that belongs to the people who do medical stuff. So I think makeup effects is what I do. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing it for nearly 40 years, I think. And I always wanted to get into it. I worked on lots of films. And some TV.
Do you have an arts education? If so, where and what did you study in?
So at my school, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I saw 2001, I think, came out, and I knew that I wanted to work on films. And I kind of had it in my head that the guy who did the 8 things and did the sets was in charge of everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought I wanted to do that. I wanted to be in the art world, and I kind of thought it encompassed makeup. I wasn't sure. So when my school said that I should do a foundation in theatre, acting. I was actually interested in acting anyway because I belonged to a local drama group, East London Young People's Theatre. So I was involved in sort of like making sets and things. So I went to Women's School of Art to do theatre design because it was the kind of nearest thing I could do to makeup where there wasn't any schools. And it involved mould making, and it was artistic, but it wasn't just fine art. It was something that had practical applications. And I also did, because I was interested in it, I did scene painting. I was quite good at it, and it was kind of useful. It's always helped me a good step because learning the proper formal ways of painting big things is quite good at painting small things because I learned rag rolling and speckling and how to do trompe l'oeil painting, which is kind of like actually quite useful.
So different patination techniques and stuff, which is really useful.
Modeling and things. So I did that, and then at the time, which was the late 70s, early 80s, the British film industry was very unionised.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the right union ticket. I had a ticket which I got from the college, which was called a general crafts ticket, but I couldn't sculpt because you needed a modeller's ticket. So you had to wait till a really big film came in. I was working in the theatre, doing props and things, and a bit of like making models for scene models and things. And also because I was interested in sculpting, and I was making props as a sculptor really. But I got a job in a mannequin factory, sculpting mannequins. Wow! Because it was quite well paid.
Yeah.
And it was involved making sculpting. A sculptor being paid sculptor day. And I had various friends who were trying to get into the film industry. I had one of the guys in my class at school worked on The Empire Strikes Back and whatever the film was called, Return of the Jedi. It was involved in making Jabba the Hutt, so that got me very excited. I thought if he could do that, I could get in. But I think somehow he'd got a sculptor ticket. So anyway, so friends of mine, we knew this film was coming in Little Shop of Horrors, and it was big, and then we could need a lot of people, and then we could take 2 people who didn't have a sculpting ticket. So I went for it, and there were 2 places, and I didn't get either of them because 2 guys, there's a guy called Gary Pollard, who I've worked with constantly, and who's a fantastic sculptor and had been working in the museums. He got one of the tickets.
Yeah.
But as I was walking out the door, they said, "Can you run foam?" I said, "Yes." So there's a job running foam on the film. So I was on that for a long time, for like nearly a year, I think. It's quite a big film.
Wow. Yeah.
And at the same time, Aliens was going in the same studio. So I went from one to the other, and also I was running foam. So I learned how to run foam quite well.
I'd imagine there's a lot of foam in Aliens, actually.
It was, yeah. And it was kind of, at that time, it was kind of a good time in England. It was like the golden age of stuff, beginning of the 80s. And from there I got on things like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, running foam. And one of my big things I did was I did the Batman suit for the first Michael Keaton one, which these days it seems quite easy. But it was quite difficult because I hadn't really made a foam suit before, and and just saw things like it was because it was black. they wouldn't paint it. It had to come out the right colour black, and
Yeah.
so it was a bit of a struggle, but it's a big steep learning curve. And people always ask me about it, even now, like how did I do certain things? Did I sculpt it? Because I know I'm sculpted, and no, I didn't sculpt it, someone else did. So yeah, so I had a good time for a bit, and then it got very quiet in the early 80s, and there wasn't much work around. And I set up a small business called Creature Concepts, and I do sort of commercials and things, just to sort of take over. But also the union thing kind of went away. There's a guy called Bob Keane who came along, and he would just sort of not hire union people.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the one that got all the real good people in, like all the Mark Houliers and Dave Elses, all those people, because he didn't get the union people. He just got people that were talented. So he changed the whole face of the industry, really. And I worked for him for a bit. Onwards. That's probably that question, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting actually as well. Some valuable add-ins to the question, which is good. Yeah. With your arts, with the education you did, do you think it helped to prepare you for what you do now?
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
I think you were saying you got some of the stuff you did was really useful later on in the last
also
answer.
I think there's a lot of people who went straight into the thing, but I think I needed a little bit of encouragement.
Yeah.
I wasn't that confident.
Yeah.
And also when I was at school, I kind of felt I was like easily the best kid at art in my class. But when you go into the real world and discover that, actually, there are people who are really good.
Yeah.
I've got a long way to go. So I think I got a lot of encouragement at college, and I probably needed those 3 years. And I got a degree, which is nice.
Yeah.
You know, BA honours after name, it's sort of like, it doesn't really open doors, but it doesn't, it means you're committed to something. You're not flighty about stuff. You want to do it.
Yeah, you've got the tenacity to see it through as kind of a useful thing for an employer to know as well, I guess.
And also all the people I was at college with, like this guy Richard Padbury who did Jabba the Hutt, I mean, he was kind of like encouraged me into I thought if he could do it, he could probably get me in if I get me the right union ticket or something. So that's all good. And you make friends and contacts.
I think that's a really important thing for people to know. It leads into the next question, which is how did you first get started into industry, which is kind of, you've done a bit of answering, but it is definitely through people having, I suppose, the confidence to go and speak to people perhaps and stuff as well. But the next question is, how did you get first started into the industry, or what are your first steps, so to speak, which I guess you've answered some of that already. It's different now. I would say it's much easier. There's much more work. Yeah. And there will be. People keep saying CG is going to kill us, but I can say personally ever since it's been CG, there's been more work for me and other people. Yeah. And they said that animatronics was going to die, and that animatronics has come back. New technology tends not to destroy old technology. Everything can live together, I think. It supports each other. I think you see that in some of the big productions nowadays where they've got amazing artists working alongside the visual effects stuff as well. So, what would you say is the best aspect of your job, Ian?
Well, me personally, is that because I'm not married and I never had kids or anything, I was always the guy that would go anywhere. So if there's a job in the Lebanon or some crazy place, I'd go and do it. Yeah. Because I quite like staying in hotels. So I've worked on some really sort of interesting big productions. I was talking to a guy just now called Paul Spiteri, he's really good, and he said, do you want to go and work on this film in Prague? He said, no, I don't want to leave my wife and kids, I've spent too much time. So I never had that, so I've had really quite a good time. Yeah. And I've been to some sort of really crazy places. Yeah. Morocco several times, Thailand. I've worked with most of the directors I really ever wanted to work with, apart from Stanley Kubrick, who I never will work with. Sure. But I've worked with Steven Spielberg 3 times, Oliver Stone, Ridley Scott several times. That's an amazing list of people anyway, isn't it? Yeah. I get sort of, I don't really get starstruck by actors very much. Yeah. But directors, I just think, I'm glad I got to work with Oliver Stone because he's crazy. and you get good stories. And I like actors.
Yeah.
I like the sort of process they have to go through. I kind of find it interesting.
Yeah.
I like being part of the. I'm one of those people. Every time I've been on a film set, I'm one of those people who goes and asks questions. Like I go and ask the boom guy what his boom is. What microphones he's using. I find it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be. People find it very, very, very boring because you're standing around to do something. You have if you do prosthetics, you have a mad. The first couple of hours you're there. Which is usually very, very early in the morning. You're crazily doing your job, and then it's done. The actor goes out and does what he's doing, and you just got to look after him.
Yeah.
It can be boring, but I don't.
You're busy chatting to people and getting involved in other things, yeah. What would you say is the worst aspect of your job, Ian?
Well, that probably is the waiting around.
The standing around, yeah.
Yeah, I think Hannah didn't like it very much. I think she was a bit surprised how much
standing around there was,
yeah. But then suddenly they call your name and
you're on.
I worked on which is one of my favourite things I did. I worked on Morse and I was making up the horses.
Yeah.
I was putting the prosthetics on them, and that was crazy because they were like at any one time they would use 4 horses to do one thing, so there are horses everywhere and they couldn't really move around. So I kind of like to be standing looking at one horse and say, "Oh, go and find and needs some stuff done to him," so I'd have to run across the thing. So that was a bit crazy.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few people who worked on that, and it was pivotal to what they've done, they said, so they really enjoyed it.
I think if I did it again, I would get a quad bike, hire a quad bike, I think, because I could never get to them. And in fact, I had to sort of like ride the horse to the other horses, because there's no way to get...
It sounds exciting.
It was alright, yeah. It was funny how I got it, because I'd worked on Saving Private Ryan, so they had a lot of the same. He had a lot of the same crew because Spielberg tends to like people and he gets the same people back. So I was on the film as a sculptor sculpting horses, and when they set up, the makeup designer said, "I'm not touching horses. I make up people. You have to get people in for that." So they looked around and trying to find someone that had done. And there's some people in America. There's a guy called Todd Masters who'd done a couple of films with horses, who was very helpful. He'd done Seabiscuit, I think, and The Horse Whisperer. And there was a similar thing in The Horse Whisperer where there's a horse trapped in barbed wire, which is a big thing that's in Morse. So I kind of contacted him and he sent me some nice reference and gave me some advice. So the story is that I was there sculpting horses, and they were sort of panicking trying to find someone. And they'd heard that there's this guy called Ian Morse who worked on Alexander, and I did some stuff on elephants. I put some moves on elephants, and also on Bucephalus, who's Alexander's horse. He kind of had an old age makeup. I put lots of cuts and nicks on him and sort of made him look a bit older. So they found that they're trying looking for that guy. So they didn't know where Ian Morse is. And, it's in the sculpting horse. So they sort of came to me and said, "Would you rather come into this department?" I said, "Is it more money?" I said, "That's about the same." So I did it anyway. So it was quite a challenge. Working out how to stick things on horses.
That is crazy things to think about. The last question on my list here is: do you have any tips or tricks for young artists who are leaving or graduating from universities or colleges and hoping to get into this industry?
I have several. Social media has taken over. Have a presence on social media. Hashtag things. Hashtag all your stuff. Find out all the people you want to work with. Follow them and like their stuff. The more likes you get out there, I think the more your thing grows. I mean, when I had a company very early on, I find people just turn up at the door with a portfolio. And it was a very tiny company. There'd only be 2 or 3 people there at any one time, and people turn up, and you feel like you've got to be polite and spend a couple of hours looking at the portfolio. And because it was so small, it was kind of rushed. So it would be nice if people had rung first and I would have invited them. But so I think schools tell people to do that, to be pushy, which I think is right. I tell my students to always go to IMATs and have their portfolio with them, or go to prosthetics events. And if someone's there, they're kind of fair game, I think. I think
absolutely.
they've had a bargain with themselves that if they're going to be at somewhere, then people can go up to them and politely ask them for advice and things.
Most people are so incredibly helpful at a Sound of Prosthetics event to students, particularly because I think everyone wants a student in those shoes, and obviously it's nice to give back a bit, and so people are nice, aren't they? Yeah.
And they're nice people generally. I mean, lots of like, it's got creative people that. And the other thing I say is that all the people around you are not your competition. Yeah. Because film is a collaborative thing, and it's probably someone if they get a job and they ask if they know anybody, they get you in as well. So they get their friends in. That's what happens. Yeah. So be nice to the people around you.
Be nice, network, and work hard.
As I think I told Hannah, I usually have someone help me, and I usually pick somebody, and Hannah was my assistant for a bit, and I'll pick someone that's sweet and nice. Yeah. They don't have to be that talented. Yeah. So I'm doing most of the work. I just want someone that, if I get a bit bored, we'll talk to the actor. Yeah. I can have like a telepathy with it. If something's going wrong, like an eye thing, and they'll go and get the actor a cup of tea or something. And sure. So I want someone like that I can trust, rather than someone that is doing the job because I'm doing the job. I just want to help. So there's a lot of people get their break that way. Yeah. I worked on a film last year called Artemis Fowl, and there's a big. Practically everyone in the film is in makeup, so they've got a lot of people in. There's a big crowd course because they're all pixies and owls and goblins and things. So that was good. And I think they keep making those kind of films.
There seems to be more and more of those sorts of productions, and like it's kind of great for our industry, isn't it? Because people's imaginations in the film are really running wild now. It's awesome.
So there is lots of work. I mean, be prepared to sweep up, make tea. Yeah. Those are the sort of people that I wanted. I got a good story that I tell my students. There was a girl, I had a little workshop in Pinewood. There's a girl turned up at the door one day and said, "Can I come sweep up for you and answer the phone?" And I think what had happened is her dad had dropped her off in the studios and said, "Don't come home till you get a job. You don't need to be paid. I just want you to have like a thing." So he had her for a bit, and she was really good. I mean, she was really quite well spoken. And if you had an actor in for a live cast, we used to get her to talk to him, have a cup of tea, because she's just good at it. I mean, she wasn't particularly experienced or anything. So she worked for me for about a year, and then after that, I didn't have much work for her. So she worked for a guy called Dave Elsey, who's now got a couple of Oscars. So for about another year, and then I didn't hear of her. I don't think she really wanted to be in prosthetics. I think she wanted to be in films, and I think she was like a casting agent for a bit. And I think her dad was a producer. I think that's how she was. So her dad dropped her off and told her learn the trade, job. And about 5 years later, 6 years later, there's a guy here called Nick Dudman who was the biggest time
amazing
thing. And he rang me up out of the blue and said, "Do you want to come and work on the Phantom Menace?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to, Nick, but I'm actually on something else. I'd love to work for you. I've wanted to work for you for ages." He said, "Why are you asking me now?" He said, "One of the producers asked for you. She said you gave her first job." And I thought,
that's crazy, isn't it?
So
amazing.
Gone from sweeping my floors and answering the phone to being a producer in that space for 5 years. I think she had connections, but she was very, very willing to get on. And she literally would realise she had to learn from the ground up because of that later. But so always be nice to people.
Always be nice. I think be nice is generally a good thing in life. Thank you so much, Ian, for speaking to us, and I really appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Sorry I go on and speak to you.
That's all right. We're good.